Hello, Richard here from Airsoft. We are going to be doing this TM VSR ONE Sniper build. We've got some Action Army upgrade parts that we're going to be installing inside, and yeah, just basically a video showing the installation of that. You know, both for you guys for entertainment, but also for our records as well. So obviously the cylinder sets, you generally get the majority of all the parts, so we could just go ahead and just get all that just separately installed, and then obviously as we pull the old one out, it'll just basically just be put straight immediately to the side. Aesthetically speaking, I quite like the black twist one that Action Army do, so that's the one I've recommended. So we're going to need a 150 spring. Okay, as per usual, when you install springs, you want to grease the springs. So as it compresses, it will spread that grease all over. So I tend to put onto the smaller one. Everyone has asked this. There is no official rule, if you know what I mean. It's a variable pitch spring, so obviously it just means that the smaller rating area will collapse first, in theory, before the bigger rating area, if you know what I mean. So and really that's it. So yeah, it all still ultimately produces the in theory same rating. It's just that one area is meant to, you know, collapse a bit faster, that's all. So ultimately this area here, if you're going to have a rating, so with the variable pitch, obviously this one has to be weaker, but that one has to be stronger. So, you know, it's just initially pick up is a bit easier, but then ultimately it has to get stronger at some point. So insulation screws, little wire cutters. So we do have an O-ring here, so we're just going to have to put a bit of grease on just to protect that O-ring. You know, these are low friction points with a self-lubricating material, i.e. this, you know, what do they call it, Deryllion or whatever it is, the self-lubricating plastic. So that will be sort of, really doesn't need any, but I've just popped a little bit on there. The main thing is obviously we just don't want any of these rubber seals and stuff to deteriorate through, you know, being dry. Lovely machine stuff this, isn't it? It's always fun, always nice shiny bits. So this part technically requires a specialist tool. Laylax do one, many other companies do one. VSR tool. So we've now prepped that. So we're going to have to get this stock off. Obviously, even though it's a bit of a slightly different VSR, and there is some mods that we'll do, but for the most part it's still VSR. So these are 4mm and 3mm that I'm using, just for your reference. Okay, so there will be some mods that we're going to have to do in order to fit the triggers in here. This physically doesn't fit. Yeah, so we can't lower this inside there. Since two halves of the stocks are together, and you basically got to get this screw out, and then obviously cut that. So I tend to just go at it with a Dremel just to remove this area out. Just to get these screws to come out, we effectively need the width of that in that area there. That's pretty much it. So we'll get that done in a minute. Okay, so obviously the reason we upgrade the trigger set, you won't see on this because there's no need for me to show you, but essentially inside the piston for this, well, you see it in here actually, so inside the cylinder set, the VSR one's got this lovely smooth Teflon coating so that they put on this, and it's incredibly easy to cock. So if only, like I say, inside here they had you know, a metal piston, it'd be a really good gun, you know. But they don't, so we can't use the original cylinder sets and plastic piston, because obviously the big old spring that we just shoehorned in there would just trash it in less than minutes. I think that was that one, wasn't it? Just try and get that back in there. Yeah. Different size screws. I normally like to be really attentive, you know, for obviously new guns and stuff, about which screw come from where. So obviously that would be the back, that would be the front. There shouldn't be anything holding this in now, because obviously the stopper, which is that part there, has been removed. So so now it can slide out. Obviously you can see the plastic piston here, and don't get me wrong, like I say, TM's got quality internals here, you know, for 300 feet per second, right? But you know, you put that big spring in there and these quality plastic internals are then absolutely destroyed. But obviously for what they've done, 300, it is fantastic, right? It's just, you know, really, really nice bits, all shiny, but just not strong enough for 500 feet per second. Such a shame. So, you know, 'cause it always just makes me wonder how good TM would be if they were able to do guns specifically for, you know, our FPS in, you know, in our, you know, in Western, so, you know, markets. So. So we're going to get this bolt handle off. So bolt handles can be points of failure, so obviously when we put this back on, we're going to have to put some Loctite on there to make sure that this doesn't come off. Sometimes they can have, like, you know, clickers and stoppers and stuff inside that make this sort of clunking noise. So obviously as we take this off, we're going to want to try and capture those. Quite odd. Literally nothing holding it in. Yeah, literally just Loctite. Also, I think last time I tried to fit this on here, it didn't fit, so we may have to drill this. Well, that's a negative on the drilling. Ain't it interesting? You know, just the, you know, because you can pretty much safely assume that these CNC parts, you know, are probably not changing dimensions. You know, it's probably the cast parts, you know, that are changing dimensions, but never say never. I didn't have to drill it. I'll take a win for less work. So we can get some of this red on there. Okay, so it's on there nicely, handle installed. So now we're going to move to trying to get all this hop stuff in place. So we want to undo this outer barrel here basically, which is going to be 1 or 2 retaining screws. So we've got this one here. So this one you probably want to pop a bit of red Loctite back on when you put it in again. Yeah, thought so. So we're going to want a 2.5, something like that. Top here. I totally forgot to put my cloth over here. I don't know why my retinas are melting. So obviously, you know, you have these opportunities with these brand new guns and stuff, you know, rather than just going straight to obviously unwinding of it, which is interesting because it isn't. Yeah, I thought so. Just stuck on there with a bit of Loctite. So what you can do is you can obviously wind it in to kind of see how far, you know, a standard TM, you know, can wind in. So because obviously sometimes there's people asking the question, obviously, well, do you wind it all the way in, or do you have 1 turn back out or 2 turns back out? You know you can't turn that anymore, not really, not without forcing it. So so backing out and in line, you know, that's kind of the official position. Also technically that screw would probably be out of alignment if you go 1 or 2 threads inside, but you know, it is asked. So so yeah, yeah, we'll just wind this out. Oh. Oh. So these rings are proprietary to the VSR ONE, so if you do need to replace them, they are bespoke to VSR ONE, I'm afraid. I really like the stock hop unit. I mean, recently we've been installing the Action Army, and the reason we didn't change it is because we didn't want the time involved in going for something more complicated, sort of different, you know. It's just because obviously we've got a great result, so let's repeat that great result, you know, teching wise. But yeah, I mean, I quite like the original TM hop unit. Obviously the arm needs to be changed, you know, to be able to lift heavier ammo, so does the hop rubber, you know, but the actual unit, you know, it's pretty good. So this is like a support block, which obviously locates the outer in the you know, stock.
I just printed some more 48 labels off on my own.
No, well done. Afraid so? Everyone knows your computer literacy levels now, I'm afraid. Alright, so we just back this out like so. Obviously to locate back in, it's just a matter of lining up those holes like that. But I don't believe we'll be reinstalling this. I believe we are going to be trying something shiny new today. I'm open to just trying some things, you know, on camera. So we'll just. I love the side operation, the Action Army ones, these annoying little grub screws. So it's sometimes you just have to factor in convenience, you know. So. World's shortest, but we're going to be using this barrel because I don't have a VSR barrel that's this long. I'm not willing to cut another one, so we're still waiting for sort of a VSR cut that's that sort of size.
Let me just put you over a word sheet.
Righty. Real shame we don't have the barrel. If we could just put this all to one side and just got the shiny new hop unit out. Do we need to go over those orders and put them on the system, practice it before you go, or is there going to be any time?
I'm just going to get these two out.
Yeah. It's just only for your own personal practice, that's all and stuff, but
we'll do that next Wednesday.
Well, we can practice it Wednesday, so yeah.
And I'll write it down.
Yeah.
As I'm doing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I've got my little book there.
Right, okay.
I put all my...
I say, because at some point, like, you're just going to have to sort of, like, almost like with me not, you know, doing it, like, or, you know, just kind of see how far you get, yeah? So, and then obviously when you get stuck, just like, I'm stuck, so this is as far as I got, etc., yeah? So. Maple Leaf VSR Hop Chamber TDC design. Well, I bought this because I like the concept of retaining this arm, you know, as a newer design over the Action Army one. You know, it's the problem with VSR stuff is whether it's Laylax, Action Army or Maple Leaf and stuff, it's proving difficult finding like the absolute perfect, you know, VSR tuning company for like every product. You know, you just have to combine a little bit from that one, a little bit from that one, because everybody does sort of that, you know, thing. Whereas obviously, you know, you just hope, you know, one company that makes parts for a gun does the best parts for, you know, everything. So but it's not quite like that. So we're certainly having a look at this, you know, to make sure that to see if it's good. Obviously the concept of obviously being able to adjust from the sides, attractive. You know, also wide compatibility, it would appear, with these attachments to every hot combination, you know, under the sun, it would appear. So which is progressive, you know, so that's what we want about a part. You know, the old grub screw design is exactly that, old, you know, so so yeah. Huh? Well, this might be a bit overkill, but we're doing it anyway. It's going to go. is definitely stabilised. Right, we're definitely going to have to remove this barrel, unfortunately. So we've got 3 screws on the side. Should separate the half. It's trapped in there. I need a smaller thing. We did ask Laylax to make one of these barrels, but I don't know if they will. The truth is, it'd only be just for, you know, guaranteeing quality's sake and small FPS bump. Yeah, so a slight change on that arm will be all that's needed, you know, for modifying this to be working. I mean, we have the arms. I mean, a slightly different design if I was to make it again nowadays. I mean, my old VSR hop arms are 15 years old, I think now. Still never sold through the entire batch from 15 years time, so not the my biggest selling product. So what, 200 mil? Just take some photos of the cut on this one. We'll see if it's something we can play. It's definitely not MWS cut. That'd be about right-ish barrel wise. It's definitely just like I said, it's VSR cut. Probably about 220. 200, something like that. Where's my tape? Maybe there's another barrel that could be repurposed. So yeah, so 200 mil with a VSR cut. 200 mil VSR barrel. There's a 200 mil AAP barrel that could possibly be. Maple Leaf do 200mm barrel. These are pistol cuts, so would that be the same? Oh look, picture of a barrel and no clear picture of the cuts on the side. Love it. TM 604, specifically for VSR ONE. Yeah, that would fit. It's a 6104 KM. I've already stocked that brand. This one's one of these sort of all-purpose ones. You'll be taking a gamble on that one. GBB AEG barrel. It just does everything under the sun. Alright, well, at least there is a product out there, but obviously I might need to source that over time. We'll just run with this barrel for it again, just like we did on our last build for VSR ONE. So let's see if we can install an RHOT kit in this, even though it's TM barrel. Nope. It's looking pretty good, isn't it? It's a little low in the barrel, so it's not perfect, but certainly better than that one, isn't it? I know we're meant to install this capped on tape, but I was curious if you can just get away without it, if I'm honest. It still stays in place under the thing, doesn't it? So I've done it not too tight, so it should sit higher in there. So I'm just going to rinse around it with a blade, if I can actually find it under the mess. makes any difference on these because it's all hollow inside. That's alright. Good. Righty, so we're going to have to get inside this. Stuck. Fucking wood, wouldn't it? It's always a gun tech's worst nightmare is that, you know, you take things apart and you know exactly, you know, how they go back together again because you can see them, you know, to reassemble. You take them apart and they blast apart. You ain't got a friggin' clue. So we're going to put things roughly back in that same place as what's over there. I like to put a little bit of grease on when seating VSR hot rubbers or GBB hot rubbers, just because two halves are going to be clamping down, and obviously you don't want it pulling anything in any direction because it's not lubricated. So yeah, we're going to have to put that arm in, or decide on an arm. Now we know they have their own version of the Omega nub there. And there's also an Omega nub here, so which arms we've got to choose from, eh? That one. Oh, let me just check out these amazing instructions. Ooh. Oh, well, to be fair, there is a QR code there. We'll let you off. See, something like this might work with just like pushing straight down metal on thing. I do prefer, you know, a nub. So, but that certainly would be a larger contact area. It's a much smaller contact area there, but obviously it has a little bit of sort of forgiveness to it, you know, if somebody was to accidentally obviously crank it on too much. But I am intrigued about this wide boy over here. Oh yeah, that's neat, isn't it? You never need a lot with our hot patches. You just don't need a lot, you know. Sorry, I'll be back in a second. Just curious about this little slip at the front here. I wonder if that's designed for this O-ring. Do you know what would tell me? Instructions. Oh yeah, I mean that looks about right, doesn't it? That looks alright. We can do this. Why has that not got a cutout for a spring at the bottom of it? Surely it'd want it to... Or I suppose obviously the slidey bit is sufficient. No, just makes sense the other way around, doesn't it? It's almost like a sort of fixed arm. I mean, it's got to slide up and down on the adjust. We said spring underneath like that. Leaves us with that spare then, all these spare. What about that though? Why do we need that? Right, I am on a bit of a time thing, so we are going to check this manual and see what that says. Standard hop lever, TDC hop lever. Oh, okay, so they're saying, I'm assuming they mean then the TDC arm. Yeah, so you stick a grub screw through the side, you fix the arm in place, and then the only way to adjust it up and down is with an Allen key, a grub screw, thus being top dead center. With the arm being on one side, they're thinking there's going to be a side bias, but with obviously how much top pressure is required to create huge amounts of lift on our hop, we're just going to need a duct's fart in order to get the lift we need. So I prefer the convenience of the arm, but proof will certainly be in the testing. Herder. Just when I'm closing it up. in. Oh no. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we're just not going to know if that's going to overhop or underhop until we just get the damn thing in the gun and just fire some test shots and just prepare mentally that we possibly might be immediately back here to reseat that and try and figure out a way to not make it overhop. Just testing's king. That's all we can do. Just get on here and just test the damn thing. Right. I think that is going to have to come off. Wondering if I could get away with that different arm. It's a little thicker on the VSR one there. Obviously this all going together and everything just working is technically an outcome. Technically one we are hoping for, but odds are we're working on the assumption that, you know, things will not be quite that way, and when we go and test it's doing something odd or not quite right, or etc, etc. Right, so we need to get this bad boy back in. Okay, so that's the assembly, the parts at least in, you know, so we're obviously working on the assumption that obviously everything is perfectly made and perfectly fitting and just works. Yeah, would be nice, can but hope. should be a little packet. Yeah. Just going to take a smidge off that, it's a little too long. Well, that seems to be working enough to at least get a bloody range test done, yeah? And we'll check obviously the smooth movement later, but we need to get this all in this, so that's going to require some mods, which I now need to do. Get some kind of a Dremel bit in there vertically, but that can cut. Okay, just for the purposes of you guys, marked around about how much we're going to have to take out. You can sort of see the sort of white where my finger is. Essentially about a finger width, if you know what I mean. I can give you the exact measurements if you want. The purpose of this is, you know, we're not moving back to original anything, so I don't care about its reverse compatibility. So 14.3, probably about 14.5, just to give you a bit of room. Okay, so something. Oops. Fucking light. Something to this effect. You see it on there? Room. So we can hopefully get that zero trigger in there. And let's see what else is interfering. I can't remember exactly how much I had to take out, but. A bit more at the top and at the back. Okay, a bit more. 3. You're the magic number. Oh, I am just going to go and range test this. That is shooting like a laser and spot on. Like no hop, it's kind of like shooting about 60 meters, and then I put on about 5, 6, 7 clicks, and I start over hopping past the 60 meters, but still pretty flat, you know. And then obviously there's huge swaths of hop left to obviously start over hopping. This is on 4.3s. So yeah, obviously we've built the gun. It's cocking well. We've obviously no hiccups whatsoever. It has gone swimmingly, hasn't it? It's gone swimmingly, this is just the Airsoft gods, I think, and I might be speaking a bit too soon here. You know, rewarding me for that MP5, hasn't it? It is rewarding me. This is going to be perfect. I'm going to fire this across the chrono right now, and it's going to say the exact number for like 1 FPS under, because that's how well this build's going. It's not going to be like massively over and I'm having to build the whole gun again, is it? You know, Airsoft gods. Okay, 316 feet per second on a 4.3, which is, it's pretty high. It's probably like 2+ joules, you know, of energy still smacking out at. About 30 under the limit, you know. That's, considering the length of the barrel that's on this, considering it's got a 100 in there, it was a possibility it would come a little under. Obviously we'd love a tight bore barrel in there to try and eke out, I don't know, an extra 5 or 10. Yeah, I think that is spot on. I think we're going to pass this through to, considering obviously time, customer would really like to play with it tomorrow. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to say that is the Airsoft god smiling on us, I think. So I'm going to run this through to the stress test on the range. If it passes that, then it's good to go back to the customer. So, well, I mean, other than my tidy up on here, if you know what I mean, thank you for sticking with us on this one. It's gone swimmingly, and yeah, it's you know, Airsoft gods knew that it was 6:46 on a Saturday and that I wanted to go home, didn't it? So thank you gods for this one. So I'm sure you're going to get another donation with a bad one soon. So alright, cheers. Hello, Richard speaking from Amigo Success Soft. We are going to be testing this TM VSR ONE. So, and this one has gone swimmingly, which is good. So this one is so it's got the Action Army upgraded trigger set, which obviously we've had to modify to get into there, the actual gun itself. We've got the Laylax Aqua Spring, so the 150. We've got the Psionic R-Hop set, which we've combined with the Maple Leaf MLC chamber. We've got the, which is really nice. It's just it was a very well thought out chamber, and I'm very happy with that product. So that's probably going to be our standard upgrade going forward, I think. So it's been quite nice. Always happy to try some new things, and when it works, we'll make that our meta going forward. We've got the Action Army Twisted Cylinder set. I just think it's the smoothest and neatest looking one. We've got the Action Army Spring Guide to obviously go with that, and it comes with the cylinder set head itself. We've got the barrel spacers for stability, if there is such thing as adding stability to a 200mm barrel. Yeah, we've, like I say, tested it working, shooting lovely and straight, 65 meters just down the line. Barreling nice and powerful, 316 feet per second, so it's hitting nice and hard on 4.3s, yeah, ready for just making sure that obviously it's cocking and can be used on a game day, and everything's all good and working. Oh. There we go. So it's cocking lovely and smooth. Yeah, like I say, any problems, it's now ready to obviously go back for that sort of longer term testing. I love the concept of this one, that maybe you can sort of run around with like a sort of smaller sniper, you know, run around with a primary, and then maybe just sort of put this in a sheath or something and just pull it out when you need it. Short, easy to move, lots of handling, but huge power. Yeah, so obviously minimum engagements are, you know, are in effect on these, you know, so but you get that ability to just reach out and really hit hard, while having it almost like tucked away, you know. I think it's a very cool idea, you know. So yeah, some sacrifices and obviously barrel length, you know, and the FPS there, but yeah, you can hear there it's almost denting the wood, you know. So it's yeah. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.